Detective, what do you want?
You need to see me, sir?
No. For this case, I asked for the 2 best detectives.
What? You mean expert in opinion? Those guys are the worst. They only ever listen to themselves. Anyway, they're still out on that beta blocker case, so I took the liberty of looking up this file.
They get results, and they don't do rants in my office.
Yeah, whatever. So, what's the pico on this one?
There's some new kids in town. Punks, if you ask me. They've been challenging the tried and true.
So, in patients with bioprosthetic valves and A-Fib, does Rivaroxaban compared to warfarin show non-inferiority with respect to cardiovascular disease and death? Sure seems like these punks are up to something. I'm on it, Chief.
This case has been given high priority by the mayor's office. Whatever resources you need.
So, Major Umadin, thank you very much for taking some time to meet with us today.
That's Major COU Umadin to you.
Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Major COU Umadin. So, tell me in your own words what happened that day.
Sure. You know, we've been around a long time, reliable. All of a sudden, there were these new guys, punks if you ask me. They were on the street corner shouting non-inferiority, waving signs about no monitoring. They are nuts. Don't they know that with bioprosthetic valves, we are the only option?
Listen, Major COU Umadin, I hear you. I appreciate your candor on this and for doing such great work for us. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Sure, they said lower risk of bleeding, but that can't be. You need to do something.
Listen, we'll get to the bottom of this for sure. You have my word.
Down with warfarin!
What you got there?
Oh, St. Mark, it's just you.
Bloomfield? Is that you? Did you get a haircut or something?
No, not that I remember.
Anyway, did you get those files I sent over to you?
Yep, sure did. And they just posted this not so long ago. So I have a few questions.
Questions are a good thing though, Bloomfield. They're the hallmark of evidence-based medicine. The more questions we ask, the more new papers and trials we have to read, and the better off we'll be taking care of our patients.
Okay, thanks. So what do you think these guys are up to?
My guess is they found their opportunity to make their mark, and they're taking it. They're backed by some people with some pretty steep pockets, too.
Outside money. That complicates things.
Not always, Bloomfield. It depends on what the intentions of the funders are. If they're involved in trial design, recruitment of patients, and the writing of the analysis, that's where there could be some issues.
Okay, that makes sense. What did the abstract say?
The abstract? I've told you 100 times, don't just read the abstract. But it actually seems like these new DOACtivists may have a point here. I think we ought to go downtown and bring some of them in for some further questioning.
All right.
wrong. We just wanted everyone to know that change is good. Change is necessary.
Listen. I understand change is important, but you can't go around making claims unless you have the proof to back it up.
But we do have the proof. You've read the articles, you've seen the poems. Death, stroke, TIAs. We're just as good.
No, you're non-inferior.
That's the same thing!
No, it isn't.
Oh my God.
Listen, there was a non-inferior decrease in time to event of 7.4 days. So what that means is that the DOACtivists and our warfarin veterans are both helpful for patients.
But we're safer. And there's no routine monitoring with us. No dietary restrictions.
That's where you're wrong. You're not safer. Bleed rates in the trial were low, 13% versus 15%. However, the hazard ratio was 0.89, and the confidence interval was 0.59 to 1.15. So that shows that there was actually no difference in bleed rates. You can't go around overstating your findings and not get in trouble for that. Year 5, case log entry 2. New kids on the block. The old guard's getting antsy. The DOACtivists may be onto something, but they're a little too optimistic. Bottom line, Rivaroxaban was non-inferior to warfarin with respect to time until death, major cardiovascular disease, and major bleeding in patients with bioprosthetic mitral valves and atrial fibrillation. The design was non-inferiority trial to show that Rivaroxaban was no worse than warfarin. Bloomfield, is that you rummaging through the trash?
Oh, hey, St. Mark. Yeah, I ran out of money for food. If only I had some of that outside funding. Now that I know it's totally ethical.
Well, as long as...
I know. As long as the funders aren't involved in trial design, patient recruitment, or paper writing.
Right, exactly.
Actually, I had a question. You know, I was looking at the evidence again, and it seemed as if the new guys are better since it took 7.4 days longer to have an event. I am so confused. What am I missing?
Well, the non-inferiority margin was set at 8 days.
Hold it right there. What do you mean non-inferiority margin? What is that?
So to evaluate the result of a non-inferiority trial, you really need to be oriented to a certain figure. And so let's walk through that together. There are 2 important vertical lines to note. The first is represented by this solid vertical line here, which is the line of unity or the line of no difference. The second is represented by this dotted line, which is the non-inferiority margin that the researchers set.
Okay.
The other thing you need to note is the confidence interval. The confidence interval is represented by these horizontal lines here. And so I'm going to walk through a couple of examples for you, if that's okay.
That would be amazing.
So because this confidence interval or this horizontal line does not include the line of no difference and is completely on the new is better side, we could say that the outcome of the trial was superior for the new treatment.
Cool.
Another possibility for non-inferiority trial is if the confidence interval includes the line of no difference.
Okay.
That basically means that no treatment is better, that they're no worse than the previous the standard.
Okay.
And then another outcome is inferiority that you can find in a non-inferiority trial. And that's where the confidence interval does not include that line of no difference, but includes the line of non-inferiority.
Yeah, that one's way out there.
Right, exactly. Should we apply it to our actual case that we just solved?
Please do.
So let's pull that trial up. And you can see that for all patients, I'll highlight here in red, and I'll draw the line of no difference of 8 days, meaning that if warfarin was found to extend the time to event by 8 days, it would be better. We'll draw that here. We'll also note our 2 ends of the confidence interval, which was represented by a negative 1.4 days and a 16.3 days for the primary outcome. And again, you may remember that the average difference was 7.4 day extension.
Cool. And since the confidence interval includes the line of no difference, the DOACtivists are not better.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Bloomfield. If you keep this up, you might be running this place one day.
Aw, thanks. That's so kind.
Now, don't go getting too excited, Bloomfield. I've got some more reading for you to do.
Aw, man.